right, y'all. Last thing on the call. Y'all really have to, regardless of your literacy level, because trust me, some of y'all's generations are already illiterate, but at least one or two more generations after you, if you do not emphasize the importance of reading and writing to your children, about one or two more generations, your bloodline will be illiterate. Just reading enough to get by. Friend, that's illiteracy. So yeah, what I'm going to call is we really need to bring back the importance of reading and writing. Our entire history is being wiped out because nobody is writing anything down. I write my history down. You can pick it up today on the Amazon. When the Scales Fell, books 1 and 2 available now. Book 3 by the end of December. They have made reading and writing so detestable and distasteful because they associate it with something that we have to do, something that we don't want to do. When's the last time you read and write in a full capacity? At school. We hate school. Why? Because it's literally teaching you how to stop thinking and become mindless. Dang, my battery just died. But it's teaching us how to become mindless. So we don't like school because it's literally turning us off. But of course we don't know that because we don't know what's going on. But lucky you got this video and I'm letting you know what you suspected about school is really what's going on over there. They're not teaching you, they're just teaching you how to memorize. They're teaching you how to turn your brain off. They're teaching you how to be controlled. That's why I hate this whole 6-7 thing, because it is evidence of mind control and we think it's cute. How many adults have I heard go and engage with children because they'll say it and the kids will all pipe up and say it with them? You are contributing to the mind control, which means the powers that be can send some sort of messaging, because trust me, there's messaging going on. They can send some sort of messaging and make the population erupt. So every time there's an opportunity to follow a trend, you should go in the opposite direction. Following trends is the exact same thing as everybody running to the fight, and black people have always prided themselves, I'm going in the opposite direction. Meanwhile, y'all following trends, not realizing you being mind controlled. They trying to see how much of the populace can we drop something and the whole populace get on it. Culturally, collectively. So every time a trend hits, you need to be going in the opposite direction unless you confer with yourself and say, Holy Spirit, is this something that I should be involved in? And anything that got to do with the world, I'm going to just let you know before you go to Holy Spirit, it's a no. We also have to understand that reading and writing was actually a sacred art. Reading and writing was passed down. It was passed down through the elite and the wealthy. Us regular folks were never supposed to know how to read. They only allowed us to learn how to read and write because it was advantageous to them. Our ancestors, if you are a melanated person, actually were slaughtered because they tried to learn how to read and write. The freedom that is available to you when you're able to read and write. When your children learn how to read signs around them, like the amazement of, oh my gosh, mom, dad, that says so-and-so. So now when people are putting information out in books, and you guys are like, you should put this in audiobook. I will never put one of my books in audiobook. Never say never, but I will never put my books in audiobook because I want you to read. There is something that happens within the brain when you read. There is something that happens within the brain when you write. I'm not a brainy person, so I don't know what happens, but I know what happens. So if you're just listening to books, you're not actually activating that miraculous, we don't use magical anymore, but the miraculous thing that God has coded within our humanity that happens when we read and when we write. He actually communicates with us when we read and we write. 99% of my journals are communications from God. Now, this is my 2023 journal. It didn't start out that way. When you read book 1 and 2, you will see how I'm starting to experience revelation. I go from this is what I did today to this is what I think to this is what I downloaded. I don't download anymore. I have revelations. Download is new age, witchcraft, terminology, spirituality. I don't download, but I do have revelations, which is the original, not the counterfeit language. So yeah, you guys should really start emphasizing that your children read. You might be a lost cause, you might be set in your ways, and I ain't picking up notebooks. The last time I read a book was in high school, and I ain't read one since. You guys really should start journaling. Something that I've discovered from journaling, stuff that I was dealing with in 2023, guess what? I'm still dealing with it in 2025. And when you actually start walking with God, you realize that those are what are called cycles. Satan will keep you caught in a loop, and you won't even realize you're in a loop because you don't know what happened in the past. We're forgetting it. We're either in mind binding, which is satanic, or we just forget because we don't have a communication with Holy Spirit. So Holy Spirit can't remind us, you've been here before. And I also was under the illusion that cycles was learning. The universe is having you loop back to this because you didn't learn something the last time. No, if you were looping back, it is because Satan is keeping you trapped, and that is the God's honest truth. But spirituality ain't going to teach you that. Spirituality is going to teach you you're supposed to be here for a reason. Yeah, because Satan wants to keep you running around the same tree over and over again, and you don't recognize it because you're getting older and older and you have a different viewpoint. Something I said to somebody the other day, I was like, yeah, the stove is way up there. And as you get older, now the stove is at eye line. And then when you get older, now the stove is between you. Guess what? It's still the stove. So just because you're viewing your life from different perspectives, if you're not changing how you're viewing your life, you're just viewing it through the same lens, and you're going to be circling around the same thing for the rest of your life. These are all things I teach in my books, but you're going to have to read in order to get that information. Yeah, because when you hear me say it, it's in one ear and out the other. But when you're reading it, you're doing something in your brain. That's all I can say. When you read things, you're doing something within your brain. Then when you write down what is revealed to you, not write down what you wrote, write down what is revealed to you based off of what you read, not write down what you read, write down what you received. Boom. When you don't write down what you read, but you write down what you received, now you are making a connection, and God's able to teach you through what you are exposed to. Yes, you can learn from listening, but there's just something that happens from reading. There is something that happens from writing. And when you don't write, you literally are cutting off one of God's communication tools. Those of you and you're like, oh, I don't remember my dreams. You are literally cutting off one of God's communication tools. Oh, I don't read my Bible. You are literally cutting off one of God's communication tools. So you guys just really got to start paying attention. And you may not read and write, but if you do not want to pass literacy down to your bloodline, not just your children, F them kids, right? But your bloodline. Yo, I love my grandbabies. Can't stand your mama, but I love you, Pookie. You might want to teach your kids how to read and write. Keep a journal so your bloodline don't repeat your mistakes. My children are going to be able to read everything God taught me. And guess what? You can too. Pick up your series of When the Scales Fell, available on Amazon right now.